এদিকে
But still, most I get 2 hours. Which were meant for IACS.
এদিকে রাশিদা স্যার ঢুকে যান স্যার ঢুকে যান
Happy that Professor Karandikar would visit us, and it's an extremely busy schedule for him. And but I'm happy that this time we could meet him. So maybe I just request everybody they can introduce themselves, and then I'll briefly just tell about IACS, and then we can go with the program, some lab visits, some inaugurations.
Myself is Prof. Hon'ble in administration and statistics.
So you can say, I mean, academic 1 or 2 lines.
Yes, so I've been a material scientist working on the nanomaterials materials.
He is actually the one who leads the SEED program, so which is basically to educate or expose SC/ST students in their own area, like what is happening in science and so on. So there are some
Professor of Inorganic Chemistry. My research interest is in bioinorganic chemistry.
I am Jyotirmoy Dash, an alumnus of IIT Kanpur and currently chair of School of Chemical Sciences, which is one of the leading research center in chemical science in our country.
And Devoshri Ghosh, I am a theoretical chemist. Here I am also at this moment the Dean of Graduate Studies and Student Affairs.
I am Surajit Sinha, the chairman of School of Applied and Interdisciplinary Sciences. I work in chemical biology and drug design, particularly RNA targeted therapeutics for ARTGs.
I'm Raja Paul. I'm a computational physicist and biophysicist, and I also help in the academic administration.
So my name is Partha Basu Chaudhary. I'm the School Chair of the School of Mathematical and Computational Sciences.
Yeah, myself Siddhartha Shankar Jana, so I am Chair of School of Biological Sciences. So I work on cell biology, how the cell works and so.
I am Shubham Mujumdar, I am Chair of Physical Sciences and I am an experimental condensed matter physicist. I work in language.
Myself Prof. I work in the School of Physical Sciences. My research area is on semiconducting material and devices. Presently, I am also serving as Dean Finance.
Pradyut Ghosh from School of Physical Sciences, and I am presently Dean Infrastructure, and I am working on inorganic chemistry and supramolecular chemistry.
Indra, I'm Indra Dasgupta. So right now, Dean Faculty Affairs and R&D, and area is in theoretical condensed matter physics, primarily quantum materials.
Good morning, sir. I'm Sharbani Shah, registrar.
Okay, so maybe.
Yeah.
This actually is the extremely high resolution where you can see the atom, how they are arranged. And so, for example, he does nanomaterials, and then he can actually put some, like say, gold nanoparticle on top of it. So how the interface is there, how the atoms are mixing together, you actually can measure that very accurately. So,
The single atom exponentially including oxygen of carbon. But here is the simple this is a simple Hon'ble. That's a simple Hon'ble. There is included the small
actually, it's a small pellet form.
So then there is an connector who can pure weight carry on that. Here are the you have been
That's one atoms. So like how they are arranged. we are very happy. This is actually Vignan sir's
Facebook, we can take a photo.
Some diaries are pre-IACS movement from 1872, 73, 70, and some diaries are 80s, 80 onwards. So you can check the physical copy, we have a photocopy of the diary. This comes. 75 diaries from one version. In these diaries, you can see, you can get the information of that time, science movement of Bengal nation movement, and which our the trusting member like Ishwar Chandra Das and Ramakrishna, it is close. And this cover is a colonial diaries, is published by Lex and Sons, London. The information here that were some of the information that preface of this diary. It's called Lex diary. This is the British government, hierarchy of these diaries. And this is the 80s diary that time that IACS, after IACS 1876, we can claim that information Mahendra Lal Sircar with Ramakrishna, Sri Ramki, Paramhansa there, and Lord Ripon also there, information that time. And these two diaries are his sons, Mahendra Lal Sircar diaries. And here mostly illustration, his father is Dr. Mahendra Lal Sircar, different type of information about Ramakrishna, Paramhansa there, Lord Ripon, this type of people. And Mahendra Lal Sircar is a series of Calcutta that time in 1877. You can read from pictures.
I think this
Come here.
This will be created in the archive because IACS is rules.
It started from 1672, and when it started, it is just a collection of letters and correspondence. But still, in 1887, it becomes a peer-reviewed journal and split into two parts, A and B. And still now, we have this collection from IACS. Judge Studies is a German peer-reviewed journal. It is also 1920s study, and all the volumes are. This is a letter first for 1921. By the discovery of.
If you want to look, I can open this one.
Which one?
This one.
We can
Letter.
see.
Ma'am. So, please. Apni listen. Sankar, One 126 page number one. This.
রামানের আর্টিকেলটা খুঁজছে
But actual paper is here, no?
Yes.
Where did you say 126?
120.
No, volume. This which page?
The second one.
Condition.
I think that this marker.
This marker that is.
Isaac Newton, 1730.
Breaking down the page. This is the chair that I was talking about. Certain more.
Here are some chairs of Mahendra also.
Yeah. This one. Actually, IACS has another unique thing that we publish a journal, which has a very good high impact factor. And now Springer actually joined this, but the entire thing is handled by us. It was founded here and.
In fact, it's going to
Started
complete
from
100 years
1926.
next year.
Yeah.
It is started from 1926 and first volume is here, sir.
Forward that DNCs. And I think we are about a crore also.
There are some 29 books to that. Maybe these books come from.
Mahendra Singh has come, huh?
Today is 20.
Now this, once the archive we establish, everything will be displayed in a proper way. So with a lot of information, with audio visuals. So this entire information related to the books. So we are actually working on information that we have. So, and also the this one connects to the director's conflict. So director used to sit here and they present. This is actually the Raman Spectrometer.
We can have a photo.
Take a picture.
We are actually this 150 years celebration. We
work on breast cancer. Is one of the devastating cancer in the female gynecological cancer that cause like 30 to 45% patient dying, and every year we are detecting like 2 to 4 lakhs of the women who are detected with breast cancer. So we came up with a precision medicine where we detected two independent protein pathways which was not known before, and we can show if we combine the drug between these two pathways from proteomic screen and different screen, we came up that can induce synthetic lethality. It's a very term that is coming up in the modern medicine that can actually hit the cancer cells. And we have used the cancer, basically tumor model, and we can show when we combine these two drugs together, we have even a decrease in the metastasis actually. And then this is the mitochondria targeting actually, where we can use the addition of mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cells that leads to the catastrophe in the cancer cells. And we have developed at IACS CSS system for super resolution microscopy that gives us the opportunity to look into the structure of the cell. So this is a single mitochondria which goes to the fission cycles, and when we give the cancer drugs, basically they fission up, and we can see the proteins being trapped in the mitochondrial DNA, making our cell layer cancer specific cell layer. Here. Hello. Yeah.
It's a dark.
Yes. So welcome to the device physics lab. We have these live experiments. Yeah. So we will present some. Yeah. Please go ahead. So this lab starts with from growth of the crystals to the diswalloner. You can see the tip. Usually this diswalloner is used for chip fabrications, for making interconnects. But we have used this, so we have built the chip so that the ultrasound is passed through the chip, and we have measured the perturbation. And I can show you the device also. If you see this device, if you hit, let's say you hit here with the ultrasound, you can, this is the silicon oxide silicon, and the ultrasound will pass through this, and you can see in situ measurement of the device. So this is like you hit the device with ultrasound and measure the piezoelectric current. I will show you the characterization lab next. We have used a projector slide to expose our samples and make microelectronic devices. Now you can also use this to see. Can you? Is it ready? Yeah. So you can have a look.
You can see the plates. The plates were drawn by intelligible position method. These are triangular environment. You can change the focus.
Professor Karandikar, you can change the focus with this. And you see the triangles? Exactly. So now you will expose this. So now you will change the. It's just self-aligned. Now the point is we can measure varying temperature and we can measure varying pressure. So we can fix the temperature and vary pressure.
Among the sodium cathodes, you must have heard that it is not, energy density is much lower than lithium, and that's why it's not getting adopted by industry as much. So what we try is, we try to improve the energy density of the material while also keeping in mind that we should work with iron-based materials, manganese-based materials, which don't depend on cobalt and other critical raw materials. And just I've shown here just one material which, as of now, because the energy density is quite high for this material, it's iron-based material, and so we get very low cost per unit.
So you're mixing that?
No, it's not mixing. We prepared iron manganese based oxide cathode, and so those cathode performance we test, and because we get high energy density, we are able to make the material at per unit energy density. The cost is low. So this lot of one of the industry partners who's based in Kolkata, a startup universe, they have shown interest to co-develop with us. So we are trying to.
Actually, they are the one who we are having this 10th December. We have a meeting.
Yeah.
So to have a green energy program. I mean, whatever we could do.
So another very interesting thing for this material, which I think we'll try to demonstrate to you in the lab as well, this can go for very fast charging, which is one aspect where I think sodium batteries are becoming very important because lithium batteries cannot go for that fast charging. So we can charge it 100% within 2 minutes. So
No, but what capacity?
the capacity is around 180, so slightly lower than obviously lithium, but for many applications I think it works much better. For example, like, some kind of stationary storage, microgrids, etc. Universe Mobility is actually looking for applications even for like smaller size vehicles, for example,
will be again একটা round হয়ে যাবে ঠিক আছে I think it's okay.
At this side it is charged. Yeah, this is the voltage at the time. And also it is showing the full charge 100% DCC around 2 to 3 minutes, and this side it is taking 4 hours.
Started recently. Can be cost and as well as the scalability, and that's also
This tool also made in our lab, and this is spatial tool based pressure.
So I think I'll tell you more about this because this is like the freestanding electrodes that I showed you for the systems outside. So the advantage is that you can completely get rid of the current collector and then energy density can be increased. So a lot of people had been trying.
So this is the more like chemistry sir.
You cannot forget chemistry. So I understand now. Now I remember. I don't know why I was thinking the other one.
একটু ঘুরে স্যার 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 তোরা ঘুম যাই হ্যাঁ আসে দা এদিকে আসো হোল্ড হোল্ড হোল্ড
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I see.
Sir, give me a look, please.
Thank you, sir. आगे डिस्कस करना होगा सर.
But he established everything here, and also he grabbed more space to heading toward the manufacturing of the drug for muscular dystrophy. And this is actually our partner now, Foundation of Science and we are attempting invention side, and because they are collaborating with some infrastructure, like MRD recording, NMR, the closest with the university. And this is now a couple of people and we put the 2 scientists we are
Carry forward the name of PhD and IACS.
that is I do not have that is institute and other.
That normally we should ensure that.
So you are all
Yes.
So you did your PhD here?
Yes.
One time.
না এটা ভুল কথা normal transmission electron microscopy when you try to see the actual integrity of the biological samples or the self-replicated sample exclusively in the water. So the structure will be intact over there. When you prepare the samples and then you bring those samples to this transmission electron microscope. And he will just technically explain that.
This is the cryo-bunching system with which the aqueous suspension of the specimen in liquid is then put. So that retains the native structure of the soft materials. So it doesn't get damaged under beam because it is cryo-frozen in a vitreous state, and that allows the beam transfer. This is the system. Here liquid is liquefied. This is the chamber. So here we insert the cryo-frozen specimen, which is now in a vitreous state, cryo-frozen vitreous state. And also the inside our temperature is also maintained through liquid nitrogen trap over there. So the property of the system of the specimen retains unchanged under beam. And then we showered the beam from here, and we can see, there you can see the beam line you can see. And we can transfer this image directly to the CMOS sensor, there is now CMOS sensor. If we just put it off, something like that. So now the beam is directly going down to the CMOS sensor, and that can be shown over here. We can capture over here.
So here are the few examples, sir.
Yes, sir. So some
very interesting results, sir. So first of all, the normal mices, which is very dynamic in nature, just cannot entrap their structures in the normal electron microscope. We have entrapped them in the microscope system, followed by these are the vesicular systems, which are exact analogous of the cell membrane. So in the biological system, that how it is fused with the cell membrane, followed by this is the liposome, absolutely the phospholipid bilayers, which here the cell fuse with the cell membrane and make the environmental perspective as well as in the theranostic perspective, where when you enter our samples inside vesicles, you are having an intrinsic process on its surface with the carbon bond. And as a whole, it works as a therapeutic and diagnostics, and you can see a miracle in the diagnosis of cancer cells and its treatment.
Yes, these are 2D, three-dimensional material, but you are seeing a 2D. Yes, and we can also generate real-time 3D data set. This is for tomography, 3D rendering, like this. The same material is imaged over here. So we can see that 3D rendering structure. Soft material, because the native property it is retained, unchanged. That is the unique nature of this system.
That's the key of the system. So we got transponder director.
24 hours more machines, it's always running. We cannot off it.
It's always running.
It's always under our monitoring, 24 hours, round the clock.
Vijay, you asked.
একটু ঘুরে
Respected Professor Abhay Karandikar, Honorable Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, respected Professor Kalabaran Maiti, Director IACS, dignitaries, faculty members, students, and my dear colleagues. A very good afternoon and welcome to today's Mahendra Lal Sircar Memorial Lecture on the occasion of the 192nd birth anniversary of our founder. May I request our Honorable Secretary and Director to kindly take a seat in the dais. Thank you, sir. On this occasion, we welcome our Honorable Speaker and Secretary DST, Professor Abhay Karandikar. We thank you, sir, for your time. As we tread through 150 years of glorious legacy and scientific wisdom, your gracious presence has added greater value and encouragement to all of us. At the onset, may I request our Director to welcome our Honorable Secretary, Professor Abhay Karandikar. Thank you, sir. May I now request our Director, Professor Kalabaran Maiti, to give the welcome address and introduce our Honorable Secretary.
Good afternoon. I'm extremely proud and it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Professor Abhay Karandikar, Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology. I'm extremely happy to see so many students who are here and our colleagues. So welcome you all for this special occasion. As you know, the Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science is a very, very special institute, the first one in Asia. It was built to capacity building in India in modern science. So around 1876, Dr. Mahendra Lal Sircar, so he realized that the country requires trained people who can take the country forward, and they should be trained in modern science, not really influenced by various local practices that time, which was prevalent at that point. So keeping this in view, complement the existing education system with practices which are happening around the globe based on scientific discovery. So we have carried forward this legacy for 150 years, and IACS is actually contributing excellently well, and we are extremely happy that the great visionary who thought about the institute, promoted science education, promoted women's education. Today, whatever we talk about like self-reliant India, which was conceived about 150 years back, which was and also actively promoted. So to honor our founder, we have every year this special Mahendra Lal Sircar lecture, and I'm extremely happy that we have our Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology here today to deliver this lecture. He is extremely well known. I don't think that I need to give any special introduction, but for the students and others, you know that Professor Karandikar, he completed his BTech in 1986 from GIG University, MTech from IIT Kanpur, and then PhD from IIT Kanpur under supervision of Professor P.R.K. Rao. And in professional life, he has
spent many years at IIT Bombay as professor. He held several admin positions like head of the computer center. He was head of the Department of Electrical Engineering. IIT Mumbai, they started a research park which, in which he was the first professor in charge, and he also served as Dean Faculty Affairs at IIT Bombay. So while he was serving there, he has been coordinator of many social society benefit related events. For example, he was coordinator of the Tata Tele Services, IIT Bombay Center of Excellence in Telecommunications, which is called TCET, National Center for Excellence in Technology for Internal Security, NCETIS. He co-founded and incubated ISODUS Networks 2002 in IIT Bombay's Business Incubator. Before joining DST, he served as the director of IIT Kanpur since 2018 to 2023. Professor Karandikar was advisor in several technology companies and government agencies and also in the governing boards, for example, Central Electronics Limited, National Rail and Transportation Institute, ACRB, India Police Foundation. He was a chairman of the board of Institute of Advanced Studies in Science and Technology, Guwahati. He is known for his exceptional contribution in the field of telecom technology, development and global 5G, 6G standards, with about 40 patents granted to his credit, and several are already filed. He has excellent contribution to IEEE 3GPP standards, contributed several book chapters, large number of publications in international journal. His excellent research in the area of affordable broadband access led to the formation of Frugal 5G working group in IEEE standards. His research has profound impact in starting the activities of two global IEEE standards. IEEE 1930.1 is the first IEEE standard coming out of Indian effort led by him. His group also made pioneering contribution towards 6G architecture in International Telecommunication Union, ITU. He spearheaded a national effort in setting up Telecom Standards Development Society of India, TSDSI, India's standards body for telecom. Professor Karandikar is the founding member and former chairman of TSDSI, and also a member of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRAI. His vast experience in policymaking and standardization in telecommunications has been recognized highly at the international levels. He served on the boards of governors of IEEE Standard Association from 2022 to 23. He has received several awards and recognitions. For example, Connecting the Unconnected Award at Impact Engineered event hosted by American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME, and Engineering for Change, E4C, New York. Mozilla Open Innovation Challenge for Graham-Mark Solutions for Rural Broadband, for his work on rural broadband and digital empowerment in rural India. IEEE Standards Medallion awarded by IEEE Standard Association USA for his accomplishment leading to revolutionary changes to Indian technology, policy, standardization, New Jersey, USA. He has, over his career, he has received many more awards even in early career time. For example, Professor K. Srinivasan Memorial Award of IET, Professor SBC Aya Memorial Award, Hariom Ashram Prerit Dr. Vikram Sarabhai Research Award, Reliance Industries Platinum Jubilee Award, Vasvik Industrial Research Award for Electrical and Electronic Sciences and Technology. He is the Fellow of National Academy of Sciences of India and also a Fellow of Institution of Electronics and Telecommunications Agencies. As a Secretary DST during last few years, has been a revolutionary change. He has taken several steps how to translate scientific research for societal utilizations. Several national missions have been instituted like National Supercomputing Mission, National Quantum Mission, National Mission for Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems, Nanoscience and Technology Mission, Technology Mission for Program on Water and Clean Energy, Climate Change and Sustainability Missions, and so on. Recently, as you know, that instead of in place of ACRB, we have a new unit called ANRF, Anusandhan National Research Foundation, which recently announced about a lakh crore support for research, development and innovation. He has also got many new initiatives like, he's taking active lead like within the DST family, how we can have a PhD granting institute, PM fellowship and various other things. So I'm extremely proud and privileged to invite Professor Karandikar, who is an outstanding leader, who is contributing significantly to transform science and technology landscape towards Vikashit Bharat. So which is the title of his talk today, Professor Karandikar.
Slide change again.
Yes, the pointer.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So thank you very much. As Professor Kalubaran Meti gave a very long introduction of mine, I work in the telecommunications sector, and our contributions have been mostly in 5G and 6G. And I did not know that there are a large number of school students, otherwise I would have given a talk on which everyone wants to know how 6G will be different than 5G. But I will be happy to tell. This talk is, since for the last 2 years I have been working as a secretary to the Government of India, this talk is more like a Babu talk, because for the last 2 years I have not been working in, not been working in actively in 6G or so on, although our group has been tracking the 6G evolution. The last we made a contribution to the 6G architecture, and we have some major contributions in the 6G architecture. But this is, I will just give you a landscape of what is the scientific ecosystem of the country looks like, which we view as, as a scientific science and technology ministry. So if you see that in the last 10 years, we have made remarkable progress in the country, and judging by all parameters quantitatively. So in the Global Innovation Index, we have risen from 91st rank to 38th, this year. Global Innovation Index is based on many parameters, 65 parameters, which tracks, patents, technologies, publications, many actually parameters. Then in terms of publications, indexed publications I'm talking, and only in science and engineering, okay. We have risen from 7th in the world in 2012 to third in the world. There are no prizes for guessing who are the top two, okay? The top two, as you know, that is China and US. So we are number 3 in terms of publications. We are also number 3, we have become now in terms of PhDs in sciences and engineering. And we are also doing extremely well now in terms of number of patents filed by resident Indians. And this is also actually increasing, and this is extremely important actually. More important is having a standards essential patents. So by standards essential patent means your patent becomes a part of the standard. Then, you know, so for example, we currently have a standard essential patents in 5G. So if you are making a 5G call, likely it is passing through one of our idea, which is patented and which is a part of the standard. So that is also extremely important, and we are doing actually reasonably very well. Now our innovation growth story, all of you know, we are now regarded as the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. And we have, you know, close to 2 lakh startups, 1,95,000 startups, okay, in the country. And just 2014 we had about 500. We have now risen to 2 lakhs. And it is not just a number. If you look at the startups which are called unicorns, means the startup having a valuation of more than $1 billion US. So that means 10,000 crores approximately. Startups having a valuation of 10,000 crores is now 120 startups are having a valuation of more than 10,000 crores, which is actually, you know, it's actually quite remarkable. And we have a large number of now investors which are investing in the startups. Last year, for example, 70 to 80 billion US investments came into the startups. Now, there is one also interesting study which got published by Australian Strategy Policy Institute last year. This institute tracks 64 critical technologies and it tracks the technologies based on the global share of the high impact publications, you know. So this is only based upon the publications, not based upon the technologies and not based upon the products, but only based upon publications. Now, China leads in 57 of the 64 critical technologies. So, you know, the global share of the publication from China is, you know, is highest in 57. US leads in the remaining 7. But interesting and, you know, quite good thing is that India ranks within top 5 in 45 of the 64 critical technologies. So actually we are doing extremely well as long as the global share of the high impact publication we see. And some of the things, like for example, biofuels, we are number 2 in terms of publications. In advanced composite materials, we have a 11% share of the high impact publications. In AI, we are number 3. In quantum cryptography, we are number 3. In quantum sensing also we are number 4. So what does it mean? It means that we have a great potential of researchers in the country. But obviously we are nowhere in terms of the technology in materials or biofuels or quantum sensing. That means, you know, there is a gap in translation of the research into the technology and the products. But in terms of our researcher doing high quality research and publishing them in high impact factor journals, we seem to be doing actually extremely well in some of the critical technologies. So I think this is some learning for when we make a scientific policy. And I will tell you how we are addressing this aspect. Now, when we were designing the vision for Viksit Bharat, so the question is like, as a country, when the Science and Technology Ministry decides that, what are the challenges that needs to be addressed and where we should focus our energy on, then we have to focus on technologies which are critical towards making our country, a developed economy. So all the challenges, according to us, can be divided into 3 baskets. Okay, one is solving the problem of sustainability and fragility. So there are 2 problems of sustainability. One is of course because of the climate change, and another one is because of the geopolitical shift. So if we don't address the problem of climate change and geopolitical shifts, then our own existence will be in danger. So if we don't live, there will not be any Viksit Bharat by 2047. So first problem is that, we have to solve the problem of sustainability and fragility. Another problem is, with the increasing population, we have resource constraint. We have the resource constraints on food and water. We have a resource constraints on minerals, materials, etc. So we have to address that problems also. For example, I don't have a slide on this, but I can calculate and tell you that if the population growth, if you see and if you track 2047, and considering that we need per person about 450 ml of milk every day, we will not have enough milk by 2047. It is simply not possible because of you need then so many cows and buffaloes, and for that you need so much land, you need so much water. It will not be possible. So we need to therefore address that problem also. And then longevity and viability of life by so we are now a young country, all kids are here, young people, but we will not be a young country by 2047. And therefore we need to address the problems and think about that, including the aging society that will be there, and transforming lifestyle, which has given problems in terms of transportations, pollution, housing, digital connectivity, all pervasive connectivity, and of course, the artificial intelligence. So these are the challenges, and we need technological solutions to address these challenges. And essentially, we need to have a strategy which will be resilient, which will be innovative, which will address socio-economic welfare, and which will give us a competitive advantage globally. So RISC, if you take the first form, so risk averse, or we need strategy to address these risks. And many of our programmatic interventions, I will show you, are based around this. Now, as we can see that we have I don't have one more slide here, but I can tell you that even though we have shown here that India ranks in top 5 of the 64 critical technologies in terms of publication, India has about 1200 universities and academic institutions in the country. And the Ministry of Education's report last year says, just again based upon the number of publications, only 18 of them are classified as the most productive, and 50 of them can be considered to be reasonably productive. 100 of them are considered the least productive or zero productivity, and 700 of them are actually not, poor productivity. So therefore, the potential that we have as a country, we are number 3 in terms of publications, we are number 3 in terms of number of PhDs in science and engineering, we are within top 5 in terms of publications, but this is produced only by about 50 of our academic institutions and universities. And if we expand this to a wide cross sections, we have an immense potential. So that is one set of problem. Another set of problem is that even though we have a number of publications and patents, but we don't have the technological companies and the products. We do not anywhere near a globally competitive products, for example, in biofuels or quantum sensing or in composite materials, etc. While we seem to be doing very well in terms of publications. So I think these are the 2 problems, and we have done some institutional reforms and we have done some sectoral interventions by the government, and I will talk about 3 of the most important institutional reforms that we have done and some of the sectoral focus, whether it is in the area of quantum or AI or cyber physical, biomanufacturing, etc. And I will touch briefly upon that. Now, I have been quite fortunate and consider myself to be privileged that many of them were operationalized during my tenure as the secretary, and therefore these are going to have a very long-term impact on the scientific ecosystem of the country. So this problem that which I mentioned, that only 50 out of 1200 universities and academic institutions can be considered as productive, was recognized in the national education policy, which said that even though 95% of the students, and by the way, the interesting thing is that if you consider our student population in higher education, then 95% of the students go to these 700 not so productive universities. Only 5% go to the productive universities and labs. This problem was therefore recognized by the national education policy, and national education policy emphasized that the research infrastructure and research culture must be built in tier 2 and tier 3 institutions and universities also. And therefore, the national education policy said that we must build something called National Research Foundation. So ANRF was therefore established through an act of parliament, ANRF Act, which was notified last year. The board, the governing board of the ANRF is chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister, and the first meeting of the governing board was held last year on September 2024. Since then, the ANRF has emphasized that this aspect of expanding the research in other universities and colleges need to be emphasized. One of the more important programs which ANRF has launched is a hub and spoke framework for uplifting the scientific ecosystem of universities and colleges, where one of the top tier institution will act as the hub and the other universities or institutions will act as the spokes partner. So as a first step, we did about seven networks we have identified, where 7 institutions were identified as a hub, and the state public universities were added as a spokes partner. In order to do the sectoral and focused investment which are outcome oriented and focus on translational research, the ANRF has launched several mission mode programs. The other thing that we have recognized in the ANRF, that some institutions are performing to the global standards, and therefore those institutions can be given a push by having a center of excellence. Finally, there are several programs of capacity building and global collaborations. One more aspect of capacity building I did not touch in the earlier slide in the challenges, but I will tell you that in India, the full-time equivalent R&D personnel is just 260 per million. That means, per million population, that means per 10 lakhs population, we have only 260 people working on the R&D. This number is as high as 3,000 in a small country like South Korea, and obviously in the range of 3,000 to 4,000 in China, US and other countries. But this number is only 260. That means we need to train a large number of people on the R&D activities. So therefore we need to expand the PhD students and PhD programs, and we also need to expand the postdoctoral programs and the scientific manpower and infrastructure. So these are some of the programs that we launched. One was the pair program that was launched. That was the that is the mission mode program, the ANRF centers of excellence, and then several programs for the capacity building and the global collaborations. So these are so one program of the ANRF that we launched was on the electric vehicles. Now, on advanced materials we are launching. There is a medical device technology program, AI for science and engineering. There is a program that is going to come up to develop critical minerals and also on the drones. So basically these programs, as you can say, we are doing sectoral investments both to take care of the problems, as I had mentioned earlier, to address the problem of sustainability and fragility, to address the problem of resource constraint, and to address the problem of transforming lifestyle. So many of these programs are really driven with that vision, both whether it is critical minerals or whether it is medical devices and technologies or whether it is advanced materials and so on. ANRF will also launch the translational research centers and centers of excellence, and translational research centers, we have not yet launched this program, they are upcoming, but translational research center will basically focus on addressing exactly the problem that I mentioned, that while we are focusing on publications in high impact factor journals, we need to make sure that how these ideas, research ideas or lab prototypes get translated into the commercializable product. So I think this is something that we will be focusing on the ANRF. Now this July an extremely important initiative was launched. Now what has been happening is that in India, as I mentioned, that in the startups we got 70 to 80 billion dollar investment, but in technology startups only about 4 to 5 billion dollar investment took place. And I told you that we have close to 2 lakh startups, but if you look at the technology startups, there are only about 10,000 startups according to our estimate, which are working on the deep tech or the cutting edge R&D based products, like whether they are in gene therapy or whether they are in quantum computing or and the major problem has been that private sector generally has shied away from investing in the deep tech startups or the cutting edge R&D. Basically the private sector thinks that these projects require a longer time for gestation, they require a longer gestation period, and the return on investment is obviously uncertain. And in order to therefore address this problem, the Government of India launched this 1 lakh crore Research Development and Innovation Fund, an RDI fund to boost the private sector R&D in critical and sunrise sectors. So Department of Science and Technology is going to be the nodal ministry. This fund will operate through a 2-tier structure. The first level fund manager we are setting up in ANRF, and then we will be investing in the startups and the corporates through the professional fund managers, which DST is currently in the process of identifying and appointing. Now basically this fund will invest in projects for TRL level 4 and above. That means this fund will not invest in basic research and basic R&D. This fund will not invest in research leading to publications or something, but this fund will invest in taking the lab scale prototype to commercializable or deployable products. This fund will give either a long-term loan, which will be unsecured and very low interest rate, or this will invest in the startups through the equity mechanism. So this fund was operationalized on November 3rd in the Emerging Science, Technology and Innovation Conclave by the Honorable Prime Minister. We have launched the implementation guidelines, and we are also now inviting the applications from the second level fund managers, and so we will be appointing them. And this is a substantial fund. This is about 1 lakh crore fund, and this has never happened that the government is willing to invest in the corporates as well as in the startups on the deep tech or the cutting edge R&D. The government normally has been giving money to public sector institutions, government R&D labs or the academia and universities, but this is the first time that the government will be investing in the private sector or the startups. But of course the condition should be that the project should be really deep tech and cutting edge R&D. So currently actually I am in the process of operationalizing this, And as I mentioned that I have been privileged that during my tenure, two transformative initiatives, one is of operationalizing the ANRF and the second one of operationalizing the RDI fund are actually taking place. It is our belief that once the government mitigates the initial risk by putting about 1 lakh crore, the private sector will bring in maybe 10 times the money, about 10 lakhs crore. And maybe in the next 5 years or 10 years, we will have companies like IBMs of the world coming out of the Indian startup ecosystem in the years to come. Now, we did some policy reforms. The scientific community typically has been facing several challenges in the procurements, in funding, etc. I'm cognizant of this fact. The Government of India did announce the reforms to boost the ease of innovations. We have now empowered the directors and vice chancellors and heads of institutions to even bypass the GEM for specialized research equipment purchases. We have revised the financial threshold under the GFR. Heads of institutions can now approve the global tender inquiries up to 200 crores. So all these reforms we expect that will reduce the procurement delays and improve the access to the infrastructures in the coming years. The government also came out with a policy of one nation, one subscription. This has been a very important policy for democratizing the access to the knowledge. And through this policy, now it is the Government of India which is subscribing to all the publications and journals from some major publishers. So that has given a nationwide access to top international research journals for almost 1.8 crores students, which are higher education students, including the PhD students and so on. So these national e-journals have been secured from 30 major international publishers, and we will be currently, of course, this is limited to only the government institutions and government labs. But in the phase 2, we are expanding the coverage to cover even the private institutions and the private universities also. Now, if you look at, so these are some of the institutional reforms. If you look at some of the sectoral focus area, so one of the important focus area that we are focusing on the quantum technologies. So the Department of Science and Technology launched the National Quantum Mission. And the National Quantum Mission has set up the 4 thematic hubs. One is in the area of quantum computing at IISc Bangalore, quantum communications at IIT Madras, quantum sensing and metrology at IIT Bombay, and quantum materials and devices at IIT Delhi. Even though there are 4 hubs, there are about 14 technical groups, and overall about 43 institutions and labs are involved, covering almost 150 researchers. The focus is to develop the indigenous 1000 qubit quantum computer in the next 7 to 8 years, 2000 kilometer fiber optic link which is quantum secure, ultra precise picotesla resolution quantum sensors, and we believe that this technology will be extremely important for developing a quantum safe ecosystem in the country. I must say that in the area of quantum sensing, we are doing extremely well, I should say, and also in the area of quantum communications, we even have a startup, QNU Lab, which DST has supported, which has developed almost world-class quantum communications products. So I think we believe that we should be able to have an edge. Also in the area of quantum computing, the Department of Science and Technology has supported one startup, QPI, which is already demonstrated 25 qubit quantum computer, and we have also supported them to develop 64 qubit quantum computer, and I'm sure that in the next few months they are releasing the 64 qubit quantum computer also, and these two startups are extremely promising. And with initiatives such as RDI fund, we are hoping that we will be able to scale the activities of both these startups to make them globally competitive in the area of quantum technologies. So these are some of the status that we have. For example, in the research we have a superconducting quantum chip prototype with 6 qubits at TIFR, silicon based 2 qubit device at IIT Bombay, 6 qubit photonic system which have been developed at IISc Bangalore, and as I told you, that 25 qubit superconducting quantum computer which was launched by QPII. QNU Lab has already developed a quantum communications product. In quantum sensing, we have a 16 picotesla NV center based magnetometer which has been developed at IIT Bombay, which is getting commercialized and so on. So these are the 8 startups the Department of Science and Technology supported under National Quantum Mission. 2 of them, that is QPII, which is developing the quantum computer, and QNU Lab, which is developing the quantum communication platform. We have given substantial funding, so not just 1 or 2 crores, but very, very substantial funding we have given to both these startups. Then in the area of cyber physical system also we have a large mission. The quantum mission is about 6,000 crores, and the cyber physical mission is also, you know, equally large, about 4,000 crores. And cyber physical mission basically works on cyber components, which is AI ML algorithms, and working with the physical components like sensors and robotics and machines to develop products which are actually cutting across various sectors and domains, from agriculture to healthcare to manufacturing. So we have set up, you know, 25 mission hubs across the country, and in the last 5 years through the National Mission on Cyber Physical System, we have supported something like 600 startups directly through this program. So this has been also a very major programmatic R&D interventions that we have done. Now, more recently, I think 4 of these hubs, which is C3I hub, a hub at IIT Kanpur, which is working on cyber security, Drishti cyber physical system hub at IIT Indore, which is working on digital healthcare, Art Park at IISc Bangalore, which is working on robotics and AI system, and TechSmin ISM Dhanbad, which is working on digital mining, you know, platforms. We have upgraded them to the technology translational research parks, and the spin-off of these 25 hubs have been that, as I mentioned, more than 600 startups that we have supported in the last 4 years. I think the most important initiative that we took recently to develop the large language model, you know, for Indian languages and Indian context, LLM, and this is a consortia-based work that we have supported. The consortium led by IIT Bombay, but also several institutions and startups are part of this. This LLM has both the text model, which is a multilingual LLM. It has a speech model, speech recognition and synthesis, and also, you know, the India's largest open source data set. This LLM currently is about 3 billion parameters model. So in that sense, of course, it is not as large as ChatGPT, which has something like 600 billion parameters or a trillion parameters model. But more important thing is that we will be releasing, you know, a 20 billion parameter model in the next 2 months, and the plan is to go to 100 billion parameters model by June, because scaling is not all that difficult, and the specific applications in the area of agriculture, legal, health, etc. are also targeted. But more importantly, I think this is a large language model which will be developed in the Indian context and for Indian languages, which is actually otherwise, you know, is not available. In the artificial intelligence, you know, this mission is led by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is actually making the compute infrastructure of the GPUs available at very low cost to the startups and the institutions. There is also an initiative called AI Kosh India Dataset, which provides the datasets and AI models for research and development. The India AI mission is basically making available the compute infrastructure to the academic institutions, research labs, startups and MSMEs. In biomanufacturing is another focus area, and as I told you that biomanufacturing is the key to solve the food and water scarcity and also the scarcity like milk and so on. And this is growing very rapidly from nowhere. We did not have the bioeconomy from nowhere. We are now a $150 billion US billion economy, bioeconomy, and we are expected to become a $300 billion economy in the next 5 years. So, maybe 10 years ago, we had almost zero bioeconomy. Department of Biotechnology came out with a Bio E3 policy to create the ecosystem for technology, innovation and the public-private partnership model. There is a bio-based green economy. India's first biomanufacturing institute was also inaugurated last year, and a biofoundry has also been inaugurated. Now, several biofoundries are being set up by the Department of Biotechnology. I think these are some of the very, very important initiatives that are being launched. Several startups are now working in the area of biomanufacturing. In health and medical technologies, several advancements have taken place. For example, in the case of gene therapy or advanced treatments, Indian Council of Medical Research has launched the MedTech Mitra program to support the MedTech startups, and the integrative healthcare focus, which involves the Ayush plus modern integration platforms also. So there are several initiatives which are actually targeting these. So these are some of the sectoral initiatives that I talked about, but there are many more which of course I have not spoken, like whether they are in the area of energy like green hydrogen, or whether they are in the area of critical minerals, or whether they are in the area of electric vehicles that actually we are also launching, then whether they are in the area of drones and so on. The Government of India is actually implementing these institutional and sectoral reforms across various sectors to position the country as a global leader. Our objective is to build a world-class scientific ecosystem, empower talent and innovation, because we need to strengthen the human capital, accelerate the disruptive technologies which are extremely important from our country's perspective, whether it is in the AI or quantum or semiconductors or green hydrogens and so on. Essentially, I think we need to leverage the innovations to address the three challenges that I told, either sustainability or fragility, resource constraints, and the lifestyle, while ensuring the inclusive growth. Our vision for Viksit Bharat to emerge as a future-ready and self-reliant global leader whose foundation is actually driven by the science, technology, and innovation. As I mentioned that we have a significant potential in terms of the capacity, that is the manpower, which I already illustrated in terms of the numbers. We need to nurture that and actually empower them to become globally competitive, but at the same time there is a large potential, untapped potential in terms of other institutions and colleges which also need to be nurtured, and their capacity needs to be enhanced, not only to get that scale, but also to have an inclusive growth. So that is, one set of problem. The other set of problem is that we need to convert the research that is happening in our academic institutions, universities, to deployable products, technologies, and having a societal impact. So, both these challenges and gap areas are there, and as I mentioned that in the Ministry of Science and Technology, our focus is to design the policies and do sectoral and programmatic interventions to exactly address those challenges to become to achieve the goal of a Viksit Bharat in the next 25 years. So thank you very much. I think now I'll be happy to take a question. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, so I think his question is that, you talked about all these capacity building, etc., increase the number. So how youngsters like you can be brought into the mainstream? Is that the question? Yes. So the answer is you are already into the mainstream, by the way, because all researchers are into the mainstream. I think your question should have been that how the Department of Science, what the Department of Science and Technology is thinking to empower us. Okay. So I talked many things about empowering, although some of the gloss over that. ANRF is going to launch several programs. Either it is in the area of national postdoctoral fellowships or early career grant, the Prime Minister's early career grants and so on. And the second aspect is that if you want to take the translational routes and have a cutting edge startups based upon your PhD work, you can tap the RDI fund to get that funding. And you can get substantial funding. The amount is 1 lakh crore. So it's not like 1 or 2 crores you can get 100 crores also if the project needs it. Okay. Now just to give you an idea for the National Quantum Mission, the startups that we are talking of, this DST supported, we have given them 25 crores. Okay, so it's not like, and if we had RDI like fund, they can even get 100 crores also. So youngsters who are doing cutting edge research and they have developed really a world class idea or a technology and you want to become a, you want to spin off as a startup, we believe that in the next 5 years, we would like to focus on creating a deep tech startup ecosystem. This is where, we will definitely be focusing. The last 10-15 years was creating a startup which were like e-commerce or internet startups maybe, but I think the next 10 years, we will be creating an ecosystem of startups which will be deep tech and cutting edge, and where they can be founded by the PhDs and or they can employ these PhDs or researchers. Any questions? Yes.
So,
in the technology transfer, there is a very famous concept like valley of death.
Yes.
Where you do have, some kind of research ideas, you just don't know how to overcome the TRL level.
Yeah.
So, is there any kind of
So RDI
specific scheme?
Yeah, RDI fund exactly addresses that valley of death, because while you may get funding to do TRL level 1 to 3 research, and of course the private sector will definitely take your product if it is TRL 7 and above, but the TRL 4 to 6 is where it is called the valley of death. That means, it is risky, you yet don't have a product, the risk could be architectural, the risk could be functional, the risk could be an adoption risk also. And that is where the RDI fund will invest. So that's why we had said in the RDI fund, we will invest in projects which are from TRL level 4 to TRL level 6. That idea RDI will invest.
And there can be an industry partner to that.
Yes, yes, it will not be it will not be a grant given to an academic institution. It will be investment in the startup or the industry.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Yes.
Format, and IACS is now deemed to be university because we are doing both the BSMS as well as PhD degrees. We are degree giving institutions. So in this particular setting, why our institutions, like other universities, are doing the applications directly for ANRF? Could you please tell that whether we will be eligible with time?
Yes, yes, I think you should be eligible.
Right. Right now we are not, but
Why
it will be
don't
great
you?
that if we are.
For?
From the horse's mouth. I had submitted a project in the ANRFC in the project, and my project was put on hold because I belong to IACS, which is not an university.
No. Which scheme?
ARG. CRG. It's now ARG.
Now it's ARG.
It's now ARG.
No.
Yeah, can you please clarify in case there is kind of a red tape?
Actually, all the DST autonomous bodies, so they are considered as research institute, not yet as a university like. So that way they have to follow all the norms.
No, but for ARG they can apply. For pair they were not eligible. For ARG.
ARG, I think maybe we have
let
to
me just clarify this. I think there has been some ARG. There should not PM early career grant we have given.
Another point I just want to make, like here
maybe
the students are
very. Maybe we have to. Maybe I'll write to CEO.
No, you can write to me. I'll take it up in the.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And another, just one point. Here the students are very enthusiastic and doing PhD here. It would be great if they get the opportunity to apply for this Prime Minister Fellowship also, as other institutions, universities also do.
The Prime Minister's Research Fellowship is done by the Ministry of Education, and I think we have already taken up this issue with them.
Thank you, sir.
This large language model that you are talking about, is it that all the Indian languages?
22 Indian languages.
22, okay. So that will be covered with that.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is called, so the project name is Bharat Gen. So you can Google Bharat Gen and get more details.
Okay. Any of the students, you have any question or?
Any young student?
Anything that you want to ask?
Either they have understood everything or they found it boring. So.
No, I think they have got a good idea about how the country actually is thinking in terms of the science ecosystem and how we are thinking to go forward. I guess that's anything that you want to ask? So maybe if there is no question, so then
thank you very much.
Thank you. you, sir, for your enlightening lecture. Now may I request our director, Professor Kalobaron Maiti, to felicitate our secretary. May I request our registrar, Ms. Sharbani Shah, to give the vote of thanks.
Respected Secretary DST, distinguished guests, Honorable Director, and dear colleagues and friends, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to you, sir, for delivering the Mahendra Lal Sircar Memorial Lecture on the occasion of the 192nd birth anniversary of Dr. Mahendra Lal Sircar, the founder of IACS. The lecture is particularly significant as we celebrate 150 years of IACS's glorious existence, marked by an illustrious past and a vibrant future. Our institute is proud to host many young students who bring a ray of hope for an even brighter future. I thank our director for his unwavering support and leadership, and all the guests and dignitaries for honoring us with their presence. I also appreciate the participation of the students from the nearby schools and colleges who brought energy and enthusiasm to the event, making the average age in the auditorium younger and the auditorium animated and lively. My thanks to the organizing team for their tireless efforts and to our director for leading us from the front. I also thank the Office of the Secretary DST for their help and support. Thank you all for making the event a great success. Thank you.
May I request all to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे